guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and what a pleasure I have today because I get the opportunity to take a look at and add to my collection another Ancient Era Artistry's model. If you can recall, quite a little ways back, I actually had reviewed one of their Tyrannosaur models that was called the Rexening, which was undoubtedly one of the most amazing models I've ever seen and sits proudly on a shelf right behind me. Now, that was a model of two Tyrannosaurs, two adult Tyrannosaurs kind of fighting and battling out, hence the name the Rexening. We now have the Twinning, which has got kind of a similar name to the Rexening, sort of, but we now have two kind of juvenile Tyrannosaurs, and you can see they're just kind of running along, and they're actually kind of running through some form of water or muddy water of some kind, and it creates an incredible diorama that I'm so hyped to actually put together and paint and check out. This is actually in 1/20th scale. I did acquire the previous Rexening model in 1/35th scale, and you can see there are actually three parts to this because it actually kind of like goes together, and we'll get to that point, of course, when I build it, and we'll put it all together from there. But it looks super cool here. Definitely, again, they look awesome at first glance. Really hyped to get these, painted and everything. But before we even get to the closer look, we've got some really cool, fun, extra stuff that's here included. So straight away, if you look here, we'll pull this out. We've got the Ancient Era Artistry QR code for you to scan, so I would definitely recommend not right now, wait till the review's over, then come back and scan it, because you want to check out the review, of course, first. But you can see not only the contact information as well as the website of Ancient Era Artistry, but the QR code there that you can scan to learn more all about Ancient Era Artistry and all of the incredible stuff that they do. And if you actually look here at the back, you can again see more information about Ancient Era Artistry. On top of that, in here, we've got, well, you can see right there, we've got some of those little nice, oh boy, I'm dropping them out here, nice soft circles that you would want to put on the underside of our model once it's fully finished, so it sits nice and stable on your table or desk or wherever you want to put it without damaging anything. But we also have a magnet in here, which is crazy cool. A really nice Ancient Era Artistry magnet, which looks like we've got an amazing ceratopsian image on there. And just, again, really beautiful looking artwork right there. I really love that. And the fact that I have now an Ancient Era Artistry magnet is really cool. On top of that, we've also got this little extra tag here that again has the Ancient Era Artistry logo there on the front, and then if we turn it around to the back, pretty much the same thing we had just seen on that magnet. And we've also got this card that's included in here. Yet again, we've got a QR code. We've got a very close-up shot of a ceratopsian. And if you look nice and close, look at how incredible that detailing is. I know Matt from Ancient Era Artistry takes pride in his work. And you can really see how amazing the fine detail is on that. Like, wow. That is just jaw-dropping on another level. But if you look here at the back of the card, you can again see all sorts of information about them. But this also tells you to share your unboxing, build-up, or paintwork on social media. And if you tag Ancient Era Artistry on Facebook or Instagram, you will get an entry for each post to win a free 1/57th scale miniature, which is also really cool. We've also got this right here, a little slip of paper giving us more information, as well as a really cool image there of a T-Rex. Looks actually like it might be from the Twinning that we have here. And then this is actually a shot of the Rexening, the model that I had recently reviewed and added to my collection. Again, another QR code and some more information over here. And one thing that's actually, this is basically congratulating us on our purchase of this model, but one thing that's really cool is it says that we do have a certificate of authenticity. And here is that certificate of authenticity, and you can see again the name of the model, Twinning, scale 1/20th, limited to 5 pieces, which is crazy that it's that low of a limited edition number. And this, of course, is a certificate to show that this is an official original Ancient Era Artistry model. We've also got Matt, who is the sculptor for Ancient Era Artistry. We've got his signature right there, the date that this was created, which you can see I've been just so overwhelmed with stuff here that I haven't gotten to this, even though it was created back in April. And I'm now so hyped to actually get to this, as well as information as far as the limited edition itself goes. And then here on the back, you pretty much see the same thing, but this one's just on filled out. It's just not filled out yet, but we have, again, the filled out version right here. So, lots of stuff here included, but of course the main event are our twinning models, so let's jump to a closer look at both of them right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the first of our two juvenile Tyrannosaurs, you can see this one looks really nice. You've got the nice positioning here of the mouth open as the Tyrannosaur is running along, letting out some sort of a vocalization, or maybe it's chasing some prey. I think they're just kind of having fun, so it's probably letting out some form of a vocalization. But you can see the nostrils sculpted out here very nicely on the tip of the snout. You've got the nice eyes sculpted out, as well as some really nice skin texture, very fine skin texture as you move through. You've got kind of like a cluster of almost osteoderm-like scales here on the lower jaw, also some up here on the lower jaw moving closer to the tip of the lower jaw. Looking inside the mouth, you've got a really nicely sculpted tongue in there, as well as some really beautiful fine detail. If we could find a way where the light could shine, there you go. You can really see how nice and realistic the fine detail looks, as well as the throat. Like, you can actually legitimately see the throat back there, which is always something that impresses me about Ancient Era Artistry's work. You've got the teeth there sculpted on the inside of the mouth on the upper jaw, as well as here for the lower jaw. And one thing I like about this one that differentiates it from the other one is the fact that we almost have like a little crest of feathers up here on the back of the head. The other one has the feathers in more of like a calm sort of position. This one's got like wild feathering here sticking up on the back of the head. But you can see the feathering looks incredible as you move down. Like, look at how impressive that feather detail is. Like, really lifelike, really realistic. Can't wait to get some paint on this. As you begin to move down the course of the neck, you see some nice creasing and wrinkling there in the back of the jaw line there, because of course that's showing the movement of the jaw being open. You've got like some tensing in the neck, some nice skin texture here. You can see the throat on the underside. As you move down, you see that we continue to have some feathers here, kind of like some soft feathering moving along the back of the dinosaur. The majority of the dinosaur has more of a skin textured look, but we do have that feathering moving along the back. And I like the fact that, you often see younger tyrannosaurs kind of portrayed with like soft feathering, and this kind of shows that same thing off here for the juvenile. Obviously, I would think as it grows, gets older, maybe the feathering would diminish a little bit. Maybe it would still keep the feathering, who knows, or release some of it. We really don't know for sure. But as you move down here, you can see more feathering as you lead down into the arm. You've got the elbow sculpted out back there, really nicely sculpted fingers, and I love the fine detail of the hand, even the wrinkling there of the skin in the fingers. That is so impressive. As you move back here into the stomach region, you can again see some more incredible fine detail, all kinds of really nice, very fine skin texture as you move back, some more wrinkles here leading into the thigh. You can see some of the feathering kind of tapering off here as you lead into the hip region. You can see the hip bone itself there, but again, I love the fact that it's not overly defined. Like, it doesn't look like the dinosaur starving or shrink wrapped or anything like that at all. You've got some really nice movement here when it comes to the skin kind of stretching off of the tail. That also looks excellent as you move down. You've got some creasing in the back of the knee, the kneecap itself, and the front of the leg. And as you move down, you can see the dinosaur is at quite the angle because it's running along, so it's kind of leaning, and you can really see that here. You'll definitely see it once it's actually put together and fully finished, but it obviously shows that this and its brother are moving at a pretty good speed as they're running along, which is a really nice touch. But as you continue to move back, you can see the rear foot sculpt. You've got the nice dew claw there. Looks like we've got some nice scoots running down. Well, I almost saw it. Scoots running down the front of the foot. We'll get a better look when we get to that side. But as we move out the length of the tail, you see kind of like a small line of ridges running along the back of the tail here. As we lead out toward the tip of the tail, you begin to pick up some more feathering as you lead out here toward the tip. So kind of like some scruffy, almost emu-like feathering as you lead out there into the tip of the tail. As you move back here along the underside, you can see we have a cloaca present here moving on the underside, as well as, again, some more really nice skin texture, fine detail throughout. And then, as we come over here, you can yet again see that head sculpt looks absolutely excellent. Really nice, very high quality head sculpt and fine detail, just like we saw on that card, again showing off the detail of the ceratopsian. Of course, this is also sculpted by Matt, so you get that same style and effort put into the fine detailing of this model as well. And as you move back, you can again see the neck sculpt looks really good. We've got the head turning away from us to its left slightly, not so far that it would really create a big difference in the appearance though. And as you move down, you again have that really nice arm sculpt, and then you've got more of the feathering moving up here. As you lead back, you can see the skin stretching off of the stomach because the leg is trailing. And then as you move down here into this little area of the base, you can not only see the nice foot sculpt, you can really see how bird-like that foot sculpt is, but you can also see how it's stomping into the water, and the actual water splash itself is sculpted out here really nicely, and again shows that movement, shows the entire scene taking place so perfectly. And you can even see like the water moving and everything as you move down. You've also got like some stones and stuff here moving along the outer edge of this small puddle or creek, wherever they are running. You've also got this really nice foot sculpt back here as the dinosaur is running along. This foot is obviously up off of the ground. Nice bend in the toes and everything as the dinosaur is running along. And then you've got the tail sculpt yet again from this side, which has a nice curve to it as well. We also have this little area of, water. This basically connects the two dinosaurs. So you've got another little spot of the water right here, as well as some more, rocks and stuff right here along the outer edge of this, again, puddle, stream, whatever it is exactly that they're running through. And you can see the detailing of that as well is incredible, like super high quality. It legitimately looks like real rocks and stones and stuff here. It's that impressive. The sculpting and detailing of an ancient era artistry model is always just baffling to me how good it is. And you can see that the extras as far as the base and everything goes, it's all just as impressive as the actual dinosaurs themselves. And then we have our second Tyrannosaur, and you can see this one is running along with its mouth closed. We also have lips on the Tyrannosaur. If you didn't notice that on the first one, you can definitely see that here on this one, which is also something that I'm sure many people will love because, that's kind of the way we perceive Tyrannosaur right now. Even though the debate continues, we definitely think that Tyrannosaurs had lips, and I would agree. I really do think Tyrannosaurs had lips, as most theropods probably did. But as you move back, you can see again how I mentioned that the other one had the feathers and kind of more of like a wild sort of crest-like appearance. This one has the feathers and more of a calm, sort of a mellow kind of appearance. It almost looks like the other younger Tyrannosaur there, or young Tyrannosaur, I should say, not younger, because I don't know who's the younger one. But the other young Tyrannosaur almost looks like maybe that's the troublemaker of the bunch, and this one's just kind of caught up in the fuss that's currently going on. But you can see the same style of detailing with those kind of osteoderms and stuff here moving along the underside. The closed mouth of this one looks great as well. And then as you move back, we continue to have that really nice emu-like feathering moving along the back and the upper part of the Tyrannosaur, moving all the way out here into the tail. I feel like the feathering runs a little further on this one than it did on the other one. So maybe this one's a little bit younger. I'm not sure. Or that's just, again, a way to show a little difference between the two, because they're not going to look exactly the same. As you move down, you have more feathering. Again, more feathering on this one than I think we saw on the other one, leading down into the arm. Unfortunately, I did break a finger off of this one, and because my area is so hectic, I couldn't quite locate where I put it, so I'm going to have to paint the broken finger as an injury, and I've done that in the past. I think it works great. And I actually have another model here, a smaller version of an Acrocanthosaurus diorama from Ancient Era Artistry, which I did the exact same thing to, which is so frustrating, but I also broke the finger off of that one and lost it as well, so I'm going to have to do the same thing for that one as well. Maybe I'll paint that one as like a healed finger that's been cut off. I'm not sure, but all you can do is make the best of it, I guess. But as you can see, as you move back, again, the skin detail in the stomach looks absolutely excellent. When you get nice and close, you can really see how nice it looks. But again, it's so nice and fine. I love the skin texture of the Ancient Era Artistry Tyrannosaurs. As you move back, you've got the nice muscle definition, again, in the thigh, the really nice kneecap, nice calf muscle moving down. And then as you move down, you again see that, well, you could if I could turn it, but the Rex hit his face off of the camera. As you move down, you can see the foot sculpt, again, is planted there into the water as the Rex is running along. Again, really showing that nice bird-like appearance to the foot sculpt. We again have all of these extras here on the side with the rocks and stuff. And then as you move out, again, same style of the detailing here for the tail as you move out. You get that little area of kind of ridges running along before we transition back to the feathering on the tip of the tail. Again, more of that emu-like feathering, which I really like. And then as you move over here, you can also see that this one as well is kind of running on a slant, similar to what we had seen with the first one. We again have that really nice looking head sculpt here as you move back, and you again have that nice feathering. The arm is held into the body, more so on this side, compared to what we had seen on the initial side, as well as the other Tyrannosaur. I think both of the arms of the other Tyrannosaur were kind of held out away from the body. You can kind of make out the rib cage right here as well, the skin stretching here off of the stomach, and then again the leg as it's trailing here and running along. You've got that really nice foot sculpt, and you can see the toes are held out open and stuff. It looks really cool, and again you can get a better look here at the foot sculpt as it plants down into the water, splashing the water. And then we again move up here into the tail as we lead out. And then the underside as well has the cloaca and all the same style detail and everything that we'd just seen on the initial Tyrannosaurus. So I'm so hyped to actually get these put together and painted. So let's get to it and we'll bring them right back. So they are now painted, and here we are with one of the two different juvenile Tyrannosaurs. This is the closed mouth kind of version, and the, in my opinion, less troublemaking version. It seems like the other version is like the troublemaker, if you ask me. But you can see, again, it turned out pretty darn nice. Like, once you add some paintwork to these, as always when it comes to anything that's ancient era artistry, it just comes straight to life and looks incredible. And really, again, has a beautiful sculpt to it. Really nice, very fine detail. I love the feathering here on these. It's something that, you know, I was always a big fan of the idea of Tyrannosaurs with feathers. And even though we now believe, again, that they did not have feathers, it's still possible that maybe they had some slight feathering, especially when they were younger growing up. So I like the idea of like juvenile Tyrannosaurs having this type of feathering, and it almost appears again as though like the feathering is starting to disappear, and like now you can see the more scaly, more skin textured areas kind of beginning to take form, take shape more so than what we have for the feathers. But we do still have a nice helping of feathers on the Tyrannosaurs here, because we have the, you know, a little bit of feathering out here on the tail, and then again the feathering running along here. And I love just how there's difference between the two, because like you can see feathers running down here into the you know, shoulder area and stuff, and if you look at the other one, there's like a separation between those areas. So there's like just really little differences here on these models that I feel like just makes them so much more lifelike, so much more realistic, which is super, super cool. And we also have, again, the base area here where our Tyrannosaur is running through. You can see we've got the rocky formation here moving along the side. And then if we turn it around, you can see that we have the water. And I tried to paint the water kind of like it's a green sort of, I don't even know if I would say stream, maybe I guess you could say a stream, but some sort of like a, you know, green sort of algae filled, kind of dirty backwoods kind of body of water where our Tyrannosaurs are running through. And I feel like it turned out pretty darn nice. And once, you know, add the gloss coat and everything to it, that as well gives it that real water type of a look. And the idea of creating the splash and everything just adds so much, I think, to the overall visual and really helps to bring this scene to life. And then we of course also have the little section here in the center where you can definitely get a better look at the water and how it looks here when it comes to the finished product. And again, the rocky formations here moving along the side. It all looks super, super cool. I actually was considering combining these and like filling the seams and stuff, but I actually think I like it this way where you can kind of just snap them together. Well, not even snap them together, but place them together, because it just makes it so much easier to move them around and find places to display them, because I don't have to worry about them being all one giant piece. I can move them in sections. So I actually ended up choosing to keep it this way where it's just easier, I think. And it doesn't look bad by any means once it's connected like this. And then we of course also have the other version here, the, in my opinion, the troublemaker. And you can see that even on top of there being differences between the sculpts, I had a little difference in coloration. You'll notice slightly different designs between the other one and this one, and also a little bit more reddish coloration I added to this one, more so than what I had applied to the other one, just because I feel like there would be some slight differences, of course, between the two different dinosaurs again as they grow up. You would see a little bit of difference, and that's exactly what I tried to instill into this model. But you can see again, just like with the other one, you've got the water splash and everything, and it just looks so epic. It really is one of the coolest dioramas that I have in my collection, and it's just so cool to have such a very highly accurate interpretation of a juvenile Tyrannosaurus, and it just again looks awesome. The pose, the positioning of the Tyrannosaurus as they're running along, you can see again that they're kind of like on a tilt. And I even tried to add like gloss coats to the undersides of the feet, because obviously this foot would have just been in the water, so it would look wet. I just tried to add lots of little, areas of realism to the models that I think help to amp up the realism and the overall visual of the scene taking place. Just try to make it as realistic as possible. So I'm really excited to actually put these two together, because I haven't done it since I painted them and checked them out from there. So let's go ahead, put them together and check it out. So there we go. Our scene is now put together and looking awesome. You can see again what's going on, everything that's occurring here with the two Tyrannosaurs kind of running through this watery area, looking like they're honestly just having fun. Looks like they're just like having a great time kind of playing, or maybe they're chasing something down. I'm not too sure exactly what the idea behind it was, but it looks super cool. And again, it almost looks like maybe they're pursuing some form of prey. Maybe they're hunting, and that could be the case. But my interpretation of this and what I'm going to go with is this one here is obviously a relative of this one, and this one's more of the troublemaker. That's why he's got this little hairdo going on here, or feather do. I don't know what you would want to call that. And he's just trying to get this one all riled up, and now they're running through and playing. I don't know, that's just kind of the idea that I have. But again, it looks so awesome once it's put together. Definitely another killer release from Ancient Era Artistry, as everything they release always is. As far as a size goes, I think we'll just measure one of the two Tyrannosaurs. So let's just push the closed mouth version over, because they're probably about the same size, I would think. For a length from the tail to the snout, you are looking at about 13.25 inches, maybe even a little over that, or about 33.5, closing in on 34 centimeters for a length. And then for a height, we are looking at about just shy of 4.75 inches, or around 12 centimeters. Now, of course, if you were to take into consideration the entire length of the diorama altogether, I have to put them all back here together again. There we go. And I guess we would go from the tail of this one to the snout of the other one. Now you're looking at about 19.5 inches, or around 49.5 centimeters in length. So that gives you an idea of how large this is if you are intending on picking one up and you're like trying to decide if you got enough room in your spot to display it. That should help you out. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our twinning model from Ancient Era Artistry. And you can see again at 1/20th scale, they do have a pretty darn good size. Definitely quite nicely sized, quite impressive. So if you do grab this model, it's definitely the type of model that has a size big enough to really impress anyone that sees it, really draw them in, or of course, create a conversation, because I think this type of model is really going to instantly spark the attention of anyone that sees it. And then for some more random comparisons, we've got ourselves the Collect Aid Deluxe Dimetrodon, the Safari LTDU Tyrannus, and Schleich Diabloceratops next to our twinning model, just to further give you an idea of the size. And then for one final comparison, we have a Mattel Velociraptor and Mattel Dilophosaurus, because I know a lot of the collectors that visit my channel are also collectors of the Jurassic World line, so this is a comparison that I really feel like will help many out when kind of trying to decipher the size of this kit. So this twinning model from Ancient Era Artistry is absolutely gorgeous, and I love how there's just so much variety when it comes to the different models that Ancient Era Artistry releases, because you had a Tyrannosaur model previously in the line that I had reviewed. We had the Rexening model. Now that was a model that also featured some other dinosaurs, as we had a Stygimoloch and I think a Dracorex on that one. And we also had 2 adult Tyrannosaurs, and they were kind of battling it out. It was in 1/35th scale, which I believe you can also buy in 1/20th scale, because that is something that they usually offer. They offer not only different styles and different ways to acquire your model, they also offer different size ranges normally in 1/35th and 1/20th. But you had a really cool battle occurring between 2 adult Tyrannosaurs on the Rexening, and this time we have a very different visual of 2 different Tyrannosaurs, but we have 2 juvenile Tyrannosaurs just kind of running through a nice watery area, and I think it is just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Really is one of the most impressive visuals that just take you straight into the moment of something that absolutely occurred in the time period that these dinosaurs lived. And I also love this because it's not like your typical Tyrannosaur kind of diorama where they're battling it out or they're attacking and killing something. Like this, in my opinion, almost makes you appreciate the more gentle and kind of fun side almost of Tyrannosaurs, because like I said, it almost feels like they're just kind of running and playing and splashing through the water. That almost is like the takeaway that I have for it, and that as well is just super, super cool to have something like that. It makes it very unique and very appealing because of how unique it is. And the sculpt of both Tyrannosaurs is fantastic. And again, as I said, on top of having an incredibly highly detailed sculpt, which I can assure you Matt takes so much pride and so much time to sculpt his models out to not only make them as accurate as possible, but to also make them as highly detailed as possible. I really don't know that you can find more highly detailed models than you get from Ancient Era Artistry. But I also love the elements of realism he's added to this. Just like the little differences between each of the 2, it just adds so much to the model, in my opinion, just so much more realism as a whole, and takes it from looking like a really cool model to a recreation of a real scene that had taken place with real dinosaurs. And then you have the base down underneath, and the base is super cool. The water splashing and all the rippling and everything through the course of the water. It just looks unreasonably realistic, and that's definitely something that I feel like is hard to create when it comes to a model like this. You often see any kind of a base that includes water splashes and stuff. It's usually created after the model is done, and kind of a do-it-yourself sort of thing. You don't usually get models like this where you have such a realistic splash effect occurring in the model itself. You know, it's not something you had to create. It was already there. You just needed to paint it, and it looks so good, so real, and so lifelike. On top of that, the actual sculpting of the rock formations and everything else is also just as realistic as the water effect and the Tyrannosaurs. So as a whole, this is an absolutely massive recommendation from me, as is everything from Ancient Era Artistry. They are responsible for some of the most beautiful dinosaur models I've ever seen, and I really recommend not only grabbing this kit, not only grabbing the Rexening kit, but also checking out all the other stuff they have to offer, because they have plenty more models than what you see on my channel here. So check them out. Again, I will include links in the description to all of their accounts where you can check them out and follow them, and of course purchase some of these models. And remember, when purchasing them, run through the options, because there's so many different options. You have like options where you can have them fully cleaned. You can have options where they're fully assembled. There's also options to choose the type of resin you use, the quality of the resin. Like, there's so many choices that you can go and choose from when acquiring yourself these models, which shows you just how much care and love is put into these releases to make sure that they give you exactly what you want. So make sure you check all of those things out, and make sure you also grab this kit, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.